Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, I'm still camping. Yes, it's another absolutely gorgeous morning. The temperatures have dipped quite a bit though. I mean, yesterday I was wearing a short sleeve shirt and today I've got a hoodie and coat on. Kind of weird, but anyways, this temperature is more regular for the season. I've got a lot of news to talk about today, so come along with me on my morning walk here at the break of dawn and let's talk some news. So first up here, we're talking about Library Genesis, or some people may know it as LibGen for short. This is an online pirate library of sorts, and well, they're just ordered by the courts to pay $30 million. Now, reportedly back in 2017, LibGen also lost a court case against publishers and was ordered to pay $15 million. The problem was that no one paid and no one knows who owned LibGen, so the payment remained outstanding and LibGen remained up. And this brings us to last year, when it's being reported that Cengage, Bedford, Macmillan Learning, McGraw-Hill, and Pearson Education filed a similar copyright infringement lawsuit against LibGen. LibGen didn't show up to courts and LibGen lost. And LibGen has been ordered to pay $30 million to these publishers. So here's what the order reads. Plaintiffs have been irreparably harmed as a result of defendants' unlawful conduct and will continue to be irreparably harmed should defendants be allowed to continue operating the LibGen sites. The order requires the defendants to pay the maximum statutory damages of $150,000 per work, a total of $30 million, for which they are jointly and severally liable. Now, in my opinion, the court could have awarded the publishers something like 11 billion, million, gajillion, infinity, bazillion dollars, and well, I don't think LibGen is going to pay, because nobody knows who owns LibGen. They can't target individuals when they don't know who they are. And that's posing a big problem. So the publishers are going a bit of a different way. So since the publishers realized they're probably never going to see that money, they went and sought an injunction, and they had it granted because no one was there to defend LibGen. So the courts had granted the injunction that requires third-party services such as advertising networks, payment processors, hosting providers, CDN services, and IPFS gateways to restrict access to the site. So this may limit who can access LibGen. Furthermore, here it says the injunction targets browser extensions and other tools that are used to provide direct access to LibGen sites. So if someone you know was trying to access a LibGen site and couldn't, this may be the very reason. Now, it's worth pointing out that this injunction is in the US, and well, for websites that aren't in the US, they may not have to comply. So I'm very curious to see what happens moving forward with LibGen, and whether or not this will be the beginning of the end for them, or if they're just going to change domains and, well, continue on like they have before. But moving on, and next up, this one's a quick one, but a good one. We're talking about Atari Jaguar emulation with BigPEmu. And it appears that BigPEmu is getting ready to be launched on iOS. Now, BigPEmu is well known in the emulation community as a very good Atari Jaguar emulator. And Rich Whitehouse, the developer of this, seems to be targeting iOS for the next release. I'm very curious to see how this one launches, how good it is on iOS, and if you're excited about it, let me know in the comments below. Rich says here there's still lots of work to be done, but he's hoping to have this ready to go sometime next month. And Rich is very fast at developing. He's extremely talented, and I'm assuming, yeah, next month will be reasonable. And speaking about reasonable and quick ones, next up here, this is just more funny than anything. We're talking about Dolphin Emulator, specifically Dolphin's logo. And it appears that there's a company using Dolphin's logo on their van because their company is an aquatics company, and well, I guess it's reasonable because the Dolphin Emulator logo is awesome. But I don't think this is the first time we've seen this Dolphin Emulator logo used in a place that's not Dolphin. Curious to see what happens here, but I don't think the Dolphin team cares too much. They probably think it's more funny than anything. And on a quick side note here, in yesterday's video I mentioned how this beach reminded me of the beach in Link's Awakening. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's very picturesque. And someone asked in the comments if I had found the sword yet. And the answer here is, unfortunately, no. I've been up and down this beach a whole bunch and I haven't found a single sword. I don't know if I'm on the wrong beach. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe someone got it before I did. But there are a bunch of rocks. And well, I picked one up. Mr. Sujano has chosen rock, and it is super effective. Rock beats sword. And speaking about The Legend of Zelda, next up here we're talking about The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, it's absolutely no secret that this game has been reviewed extremely well. I mean, if you head on over to Metacritic, if you head on over to OpenCritic, The reviews for this game are extremely positive. The user reviews for this game are extremely positive. There are some outliers, but the majority of the reviews have been very, very good. And there are some issues with the game. There are some complaints about the game, and those complaints are warranted and they're also not. So one of the biggest complaints, if not the biggest complaint about the Echoes of Wisdom, is unstable frame rates. People are saying that sometimes frame rates are good, sometimes frame rates are very choppy. It happens during boss fights, it happens in the open world, it happens at random points. And a lot of people are blaming the game for not being optimized. Whereas I would blame the Switch hardware. I mean, I would say that the Switch hardware is probably not really up to the task of playing this game very well. And to prove my point here, if you take a look at the game running on an emulator, chances are you're probably not going to see the frame dips that happen on the console. So this is where I would say the complaints are kind of warranted, but also kind of not. I mean, it's more of a hardware problem in my opinion than a software problem. However, the developers did develop the game for hardware that the game can't run that great on. So I guess you can kind of fault the developers on that one for being too ambitious with the game. The hardware is severely outdated. And I'm wondering if the Switch 2 will improve gameplay for a whole bunch of different games, because I know I've experienced frame rate issues in stuff like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you think it's a hardware issue? Do you think it's a software issue? Do you think the Switch has a bunch of titles that have frame rate issues? And do you even care about that? Do you think this is going to get better with the Switch 2? And do you think this is a reason why people use emulation? I mean, to improve the game, make it look better, make it run better, and maybe just have a better experience. Next up here, we're talking about game preservation and Reddit. And there's a story on Reddit that's gaining quite a bit of attention where someone has preserved a whole bunch of retro games that were going to be thrown to a landfill. So the story goes something along the lines of they found the games in a garbage bag ready to be thrown out. And I am very skeptical on this entire story. I'll drop a link in the description below, and like everything we talk about, link is in the description below right at the bottom. My news is 100% open source. I don't hide sources. Anyways, here I can't see how someone would know those things were in a garbage bag ready to go to a dump, especially considering you can't see through the garbage bag. So were they just going through a whole bunch of different bags? How did they know that this garbage bag specifically contained these retro games? Now, who knows? Maybe the story is real. I'm just a little bit skeptical here. I'm not really buying it. And well, we see these things on the internet from time to time, but again, I could be wrong. It could be completely real. And speaking about completely real, last up here, we're talking about Colonel Sanders and Tekken. And it appears that, well, Harada was trying to get Colonel Sanders in Tekken, but was shut down by KFC. And this is real. Now, to be honest with you, initially I didn't think this was real, but it turns out it is. The article's up over on The Gamer, and yeah, Harada tried to convince KFC to let him use the Colonel in the game, in Tekken 8 of all games. But KFC didn't want the Colonel fighting or something like that. So it seems very unlikely we're going to see the Colonel. It seems very unlikely that we're going to see the Waffle House stage. And this is, I guess, mildly disappointing news. I mean, it would have been absolutely hilarious to have that stuff in game. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below, and if there's other crazy collaborations you know of that were real but you thought were fake. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. I heard a lot of birds. I didn't see any rabbits this morning. I guess everyone is just avoiding me today, probably because I have that rock. Anyways, we talked about a bunch. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.